Hi guys, welcome back to the Big Sew Along. I'm Ginny, and as always, I thank you very much for choosing to spend some time with me. This week, I am showing you guys how I made this super cute artsy smock dress from me and Miss Moore. I made this one from thrifted t-shirts. I think I used 2 t-shirts, and then I used like a remnant piece for the skirt. You can obviously use like other fabrics for the skirt. I originally thought I was going to use like sort of patchwork some other t-shirts together to make the skirt portion. I have learned over the course of the last few weeks making these dresses to have a little bit less solid plans for the way they go together, because using thrifted garments to make things means that your plans may not work out the way you expect them to. So I'm getting a little bit better about that. Anyways, what did I do here? This is the artsy smock dress from me and Miss Moore, and I made this in a size large, a straight size large. You will see in the tutorial that I did some slightly different things on the sleeves. I did make a straight size large, but because my armholes were bigger than the pattern after I got the top together, I did take the sides in a little bit, just like right here, to make the armhole a little bit smaller. I also have not finished my sleeves because I don't know what I want to do with them yet. Everything else is finished. Okay, so here's the tutorial for you. Okay, so here I have my artsy smock dress center front panel, and you can see I've traced it out on my tracing paper that's folded over double. And now, because I'm going to want to use a binding around this neck, I want it to be round instead of square. So I'm just going to take my curvy ruler and round that off. You can also make it higher or lower at this point if you want. I've done the same thing on the back here. So I'm going to go ahead and round that off too. And now I'm just going to cut these 2 pieces out, and I'm going to cut them out so that the whole piece is showing. So this is my Katy Perry t-shirt that I found at the thrift store, and this is what I want to use for my center panels. This is too small for me width-wise. So my original idea was to put Katy on the center front, but you can see this is my center front panel that I've cut out. You can see what it looks like now. My original idea was to put Katy on the front, but you can see here, if I do that, I can't get very much of Katy in, and if the image isn't really centered, so my sleeves are going to be way off. I did think I could maybe just come down this way and get just this part of the image. The reason that I traced this out and opened it up is so I can see exactly what the image is going to look like under there. So that not being ideal, I thought maybe if I use Katy on the center back, I can get almost all of her in. Pull her down a little bit like that, and that looks pretty good. So that's what I'm going to do. I am going to trace Katy out here just with my chalk pencil. Okay, she's all traced out there. Now, just for reference, I pressed this t-shirt flat to make sure it was as flat as possible before I started working on this. Normally, I would remove this neckband because I like to save these ribbing pieces for other things. I have a ton of white, so I may or may not do that. I might just do that later. Anyways, we're going to move on to the other side. So this is the back of my t-shirt. And you can see, once again, it is not printed straight. That's fine. It doesn't really matter. You really want your pattern pieces to be straight, but it doesn't really matter. So this is my center front, and if I put this down here towards the bottom of the image, I can pretty much get all of these cities and states in here, which is, I think, going to look really cool. So I'm going to trace out my front like that. Alright, so there I have my front and my back cut out, and we're just going to put those aside for a minute. For my side panels, I'm going to use this blue t-shirt. Let's just take a look really fast and see if we like that. yeah, I think that'll be cool. Okay, so for this, we're going to use the side panels for this dress pattern. For the last one, I used this, which is the long sleeve version, or like 3/4 sleeve version. And all I did, so I lined this up. This right here is supposed to be cut on a fold, so I'm going to line this point up with the top of my shoulder, right next to the neckband here. And then this side over here, this side, I'm going to curve over this way. This is not a straight grain anyway, so don't worry about that. I'm just going to lay it out just like that, and I'm going to cut right here and right up here. Now on this one, this is a 3/4 sleeve version. On this one, I am going to actually use the short sleeve version, but you're going to do the exact same thing. I'm just going to line this up here, and I'm going to line this side up over here. And I can see already that on this one, this armhole is going to be almost exactly the same as the armhole of my actual t-shirt if I just remove that. For the time being, I'm going to leave that sleeve on there, and I'm just going to cut this out, and then I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Alright, so this is what's left of my blue t-shirt, and I can see that I can get 2 of my belt pieces out of this if I cut this open on one end. Okay, so we only have a couple of other things to cut out. The first one is the skirt portion. I'm going to cut mine out of this selvage, this leftover yardage that I have. And just for reference, I'm shortening the skirt on this one considerably. You can see how much shorter that is, probably like 8 or 10 inches. So I won't be putting a slit in mine. The only other thing after that is we need to make our binding for our neckband. And for me, the easiest way to do that is to just measure around the neckline at your 1/4 inch seam allowance, or 3/8, whatever you're going to use. And do the same thing on the front and the back. That'll give you the total length of the neckband. Multiply that by 0.9, and then just give yourself whatever seam allowance you want on the ends of that. Okay, I am going to make my neckband out of this same fabric to bring some of that green up into the front, and then we will get to putting this together. Okay, all of our pieces are cut out and ready to go, and we're just going to show the stitching together of the top because it's a little bit different than the pattern says. On this is the same. We're just going to sew the front and back together at the shoulder seams. These are the center panels. I'm going to go ahead and do that, and then I'm going to press those seams to the back, and then we'll come back and show the side panels. Okay, so here's my bodice, and you can see I have sewn my waist ties to the, I can't remember in the instructions if they're supposed to go on the front panel or if they go in the side seams, but because we don't have side seams, this shirt doesn't even have side seams at all. If you have a shirt that does have side seams, you could open it up and put them in there. I'm just going to put mine right here at the front, but just be aware that you need to make your ties a little bit bigger. You could also just eliminate the ties altogether. Okay, when you go to put this on, you can see that this is actually going to be a little bit too long for this. That's because you get a little gathering here at the top. So I'm going to go ahead and gather that between those 2 notches. Okay, so now I'm going to, my side panel is right side out. I'm going to flip this panel, the side panel, inside out, and just lay it over this edge. And I'm going to start at the bottom and just start pinning. And I'm going to stop pinning when I get here to where my gathering stitches start on this blue piece. So I'm going to put a pin right there. And then I'm going to flip it over and do the same thing from the back side. Now, once I have that all pinned in place, you're going to be able to see that I have a lot of extra here in the blue. So I'm just going to use my gather stitches now to make sure that that fits into the front panel. And because this t-shirt has a seam here, it's going to be a little tough to get it to gather there. So I'm going to gather one side and pin it right there where that shoulder seam is, and then gather it from the other side. And then just make sure your gathers are sort of evenly spaced there. Alright, now I'm just going to go sew that seam down, and then we're going to do the exact same thing on the other side. Okay, I hope you guys can see this. I have just slipped my top part on so far. Excuse my undershirt. And I'm pretty happy with the way it is so far. However, sorry it's a little dark in here, but you can see the sleeves are a little funky. Remember, I said this armhole here on the t-shirt was about where the short sleeve of the pattern lands. So I think I'm just going to cut this sleeve off and then rehem that. So you can see how it actually looks kind of funky. And that is because this time I put the gathers at the top. In this first version, you can see I did not put gathers here. So for this one, if you don't want gathers, when I pinned the side to the center panel, I started pinning at the top and just pinned it straight down. And then when I got here to the bottom, there was a little left over. It was about an inch of the side panels, and I just cut that off even with the center panels. But I really wanted to try the gathers, and I think that they're going to be really cute. I love the way the gathers look. I just don't like the rest of the sleeve. So I'm going to go ahead and cut that off. So I've gone ahead and removed my sleeves, and in this case I did actually unpick them because I really didn't want to lose any length on those. I have not yet decided how I'm going to finish my armholes. But just so you can see this right here, this is the fabric for my skirt portion. I originally was going to use the same fabric for my neckline, but I discovered I have a couple of neckbands left over from other t-shirt projects that I really like with this colorway. So I think I'm going to mix these two and do some yellow and some blue in an asymmetric kind of fashion on this, something like that. And I do still have some more of this t-shirt. I don't have a lot, but I have a little bit. It seems like I may have cut this skirt a little bit shorter than I wanted it. So I may put a band of this color on the bottom of the skirt as well. So the only other thing is I did put pockets in here. The pockets are from the same blue t-shirt that was left over. So I have really used pretty much this entire blue t-shirt. The only thing I didn't use, and I'm kind of regretting it now, is I did cut through my neckband on this blue t-shirt. But anyways, everything else I have pretty much used. So that's it for the tutorial. All I'm going to do now, the rest of this, I'm going to put my neckband on and assemble the skirt portion just the way the directions say. And then we'll take a look at the whole thing. Alright guys, I hope you found that helpful. I personally found this to be a super, super fun way to use old t-shirts, and I plan on making another one of these. I'll show you some pictures here. I really plan on wearing this probably more in the spring and summer when it's warmer, since it's short-sleeved and it's all these light colors and stuff. But, you know, I wanted to show you guys how it looks now, so just, you know, ignore my super pasty skin, which honestly isn't much less pasty in the middle of winter or in the middle of summer, so whatever. Anyways, yeah, I thought this was a super fun project. I really liked working on it. I love the way it came out. This is the second one I made. I'll show you really quickly here a picture of the first one if you don't remember it. I do love the little slightly puffy sleeves on this one. That did, as you can see in the tutorial, affect the way the sleeves went together, and that's also why I had to take it in a little bit at the sides. But at the end of the day, I really like it. Like I said, I am getting better about not making such solid plans for these things. All right, you guys, I think that is it for me this week. I hope you guys will try this project. Like I said, I found it to be super fun. Next week, we're going to be having part 2 of my closet clear out. So until then, I wish you all happy sewing.